Welcome to the post-match fan show after the Tottenham Hotspur 2, Bournemouth 2. Bit of a debacle, I'm afraid, even though we got a point and we don't get many draws. Embarrassing performance for me. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Tottenham got incredibly lucky. A goal that got us back in the game from 2-1 down, where Pat Matasar tries to cross it with pace and he shanks it into the far corner. And then a penalty because Kepa Arrizabalaga, I can't say it, dived out at Sonny's feet and Sonny cleverly won a penalty. But not much to write home about. But of course, this show is all about speaking to Spurs fans from all around the world. And we really want to give everyone around the world a voice. So if you want to get involved in this show after future games, please do email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. But I'm going to start off by going to Malta and Melvin. Melvin, you've been patiently listening to my watch along and post-match review. How do you feel after that draw?
Disappointed, but not surprised. We're not in a position of strength in any sense. We've not been playing handball for a long time. I've not seen. Is a draw a fair result? You could say, Bournemouth were, in a way, they'd be disappointed not to take all 3 points. We're a team that's struggling to score, struggling to create. Some players played well, some players did not. I'm extremely disappointed with Pedro Porro. I'm ready to give up on this player. I know it's been a poor season overall, but I mean the amount of misplaced passes Pedro does in a game. I think in the second half they even stopped trying to pass to him in the build-up because we lose the ball immediately and Bournemouth are on top of us again. We have the ball for about 5 seconds and they have it again. It's disappointed. I don't know if it's on the manager. I mean, some of the substitutions helped. Some of them didn't make sense. I don't know why he doesn't play or try Dane Scarlett. For me, like we're not in a good position, so might as well take a chance and play him.
Solanke did okay though, didn't he, Melvin?
He did. But in the 80th minute, he looked really tired. I mean, I know he was trying to run and he doesn't stop. But with Thursday in mind, you would think Scarlett possibly would have got into a position where he could have scored or held up the ball or done something. I mean, listen, Barnaby, in August, we're going to need to take a decision on Scarlett. So might as well, we still got a draw today, a point. So it was a good risk to play him. Sarr, I think, played well. I was happy with Sarr. I don't know, if that was a cross or a shot.
I do with the cross, a bad cross.
Yeah. If I took that shot and that cross and scored it, I would have claimed it as a goal. I'll be honest. I would die on that hill and say I tried it. But good for him. Sometimes in football you need a bit of luck, and it brought us back into the game. Disappointed with Brendan Johnson. Odobert was okay. Romero had a lot of rustiness in the first 10-15 minutes. Vicario continues to keep it from being embarrassing. His saves he can get low so quickly, and his arms are really long, and he gets down and always gets a touch on the ball. And I think where would we be if we didn't have Vicario? For me, I think he might be one of the names for long-term captain of this football club. Needs to be considered. His passion, how much he yells, his leadership. I don't know what to say. I think the midfield, Bissouma did okay. The midfield three is always, I feel there's a lot of unbalance in this football team. We struggle to create, we struggle to defend. So why do we have these 3 midfielders? I thought Bergvall came on and looked impressive. Game after game, he looks like he's improving.
An amazing shot, wasn't it, that hit the post? Incredible shot.
Yeah. I think he's bulked up a bit, hasn't he? Bergvall. He looks bigger. Maybe a couple of kilos more, hanging out with Kulusevski. Probably tells him, listen, you need to hit the gym, you need to do this after training. And happy to see Van de Ven back.
In the sauna and the gym together.
Yeah. Happy to see Van de Ven back. where does this leave us for Thursday? I don't know. I'm not confident. You know, a draw. You know, we didn't lose, but it's not good. I'll be honest with you. It's not good. How's the atmosphere going to be on Thursday is another thing. It's something that I'm worried about. You know, there's lots of seats available online for sale still, because I keep seeing online. I don't know, the manager. There's massive question marks on the manager. I mean, if we get past Thursday, it's just papering over the cracks. There's still lots and lots of issues with the team. I feel there's imbalance within the squad and lack of leaders, lack of people knowing how to win games. You know, I just don't know.
What do you think about what I was saying sometime during the watch show? Do you think there'll have been any point today where Levy was like, you know, and I'm considering we're talking about a man who sacked a manager just before a final, who might be thinking, actually, if I just give it to the assistant manager, he might play a bit more defensively and not concede so many chances against AZ Alkmaar. We might have a chance of going through.
I don't know. I don't think giving it to Mason, for example, I think it would show that the club has failed again. You know,
the club has failed again.
Yeah, but it would almost confirm it from the manager. I'm really interested to see what they're going to say at the end of the season with a statement, to be honest, because he'll come up with some bullshit and say we've invested in youth. This is a long-term project, and
sorry to interrupt, Melvin, but is there not some element where Tottenham fans have to take some responsibility for this as well? Because you know, a lot of the big calls about, especially in the kind of change for Tottenham movement, is, you know, another manager won't make a difference. It's not about the managers. But what about if you're in a situation where actually you can visibly see time after time some of the biggest naivety in the entire Premier League in terms of how we're defending against opposition teams?
It's just some things we do don't make sense. We make it easy for opposition to score, and they make it really, really difficult for us to score. And sorry to keep mentioning Conte and Jose. They would have never done this.
No.
Conte and Jose, if an opposition team, they make it extremely difficult for them to score. They need to earn a goal, and it seems that teams against us, we make it easy for them to score. We gift them the goals often, and in football, especially in the Premier League, one goal will make the ton of difference. You know, it's extremely tight sport, and we make it easy for teams to score. I mean. Yeah. Simple as that. Pedro Porro, you know, with that pass, misplaces a pass. There's a massive gap behind him. They come in and they score. I mean, it was a wicked cross from them. But that's the quality of the Premier League. Teams will punish you for your mistakes.
But also, why do you think, you know, he didn't have to cross it then, did he? And the reason he did cross it then is because he will have been told in the analysis, get your cross in because they don't defend at the back post. You know, if Jed Spence was in that position, or Udogie was in that position, right, driving into that much space, no way he would have crossed it. No way he'd have crossed it because the opposition would have had, you know, all their back four in position and probably their wide forwards pressuring as well, and so we concede another goal from the back post again, and it's I'm sorry, I find it embarrassing. I'm embarrassed by it.
I'll be honest with you, Barnaby. I've always defended the manager, and I've been consistently in favor of Ange. At the moment in time, I'm analyzing his every move, his every breath, his every substitution, because I'm in a position where I'm thinking, if he cannot take us forward, you know, the players are back. He has options on the bench. You know, I know every single player on the bench today. It wasn't a bench we had 4 or 5 months ago or 3 months ago. So it's on Ange now. Listen, you need to do something. We need more. We need something to get us over the line. Big managers will get us over the line in the next game, for example. We need to stay in that competition. We need to win that competition. It will be disastrous for.
We're not going to win that competition, mate.
I know. I've convinced myself lately that there's no way we're going to win it. But you know, you never know in football. But we'll take it a game at a time. But yeah, the reality is that we've been down this path before, and it happened many times under managers. We've lost. We got out in this competition with better teams. I just remember against, you know, Ghent in Wembley, against under Jose with who's the team?
Yeah, Hajduk Split, was it?
Yeah, I don't know.
But one of those Croatian or Eastern European teams for sure.
We'll see. I'm sure I'll speak to you after the game on Thursday, Barnaby, and hopefully we'll be discussing a victory, but it's highly unlikely. We'll see what happens at Thursday. I'm not confident.
Well,
but
Melvin, thanks for being a part of the show as ever. Really appreciate you being on, mate. Cheers.
See you all the best.
Bye bye. Quite a lot of heavy talk in the comments. I did put this up earlier, but thank you so much, Philly Hotspur. Did Kepa's howler rescue Ange? Likely for now, which probably isn't a good thing. Another top shelf watch along. Cheers. Thanks for the comment. I did ask the question. Would he sack Ange before that game? Probably not, I guess. But it's But people in the comments. So I saw this one. Here we go. From Tottenham Hotspur TV. Sorry. Barnaby, pull your head in. Change the manager. You show too much emotion. Bournemouth had a week to prepare. Let's see what Bournemouth do next year if they play Europe. Well, we didn't play in Europe last year. And, we were on a terrible run of results at this period last year. I don't really think you can show too much emotion. As long as you're being authentic and you're not kind of making it up. I think it's just what it's like supporting a football club, and especially a football club like Spurs when you don't have much success. It's frustrating because we literally, I'll tell you what, and I've said it, but I'll say it again. Most frustrating is watching Bournemouth today and just being like, they're just playing smart, but they still play beautiful football at times. You can still play beautiful football at times whilst playing it smart. And sometimes you just got to get rid of it and fight for the second balls. And they did that a lot better than we did. Thank you for your comment. And it's all subjective. Everyone's allowed to feel how they feel, but I don't think it's wrong for me to be, feel apathetic, basically, because that is where Tottenham are at the moment. Anyway, next up, we're going to go over to Ireland and Niall, who looks like he's in the boozer. Good lad.
Yeah, I've got a pint to get us, Barnaby.
Yes, I think you're going to need more than one, Niall. What did you make of that then?
I've also got a Jameson as well.
Good man. Jameson chaser. Proper Irish.
Absolutely. But Barnaby, I didn't actually see the first half because I was travelling home from Belfast. Mm-hmm. And I actually had your stream on the radio. And I could hear your frustration. And in the first 5 minutes, it was incredible. I was getting so nervous,
Hearing me laugh because we're giving up ridiculous chances.
Absolutely. It was incredible, actually. And, I rushed. I'm not actually home yet. I went to the local village and parked the car, And when parking the car, I actually managed to scrape it. And it's an expensive BMW. So it has been a bad day so far. I walked into the pub and Bournemouth are actually scored a second goal and it's disallowed. Yeah. And then, it was absolutely embarrassing after that. The second legitimate goal that they did score, I couldn't believe it. And, then, I think the mistakes that were made and the amount of ball that was given away, I couldn't actually believe it, And you had a few chances, like, Sarr was in a great position. He really should have, straightened himself up. And did we hit the post there? Was it?
Sonny hit the post once and Bergvall then hit the post with a long shot. Yeah.
And then we get, an absolute fluke. There's no way, that he meant to go for that. But anyway, we'll take it. And even after that, we were actually back in the game. And the amount of ball that was given away was absolutely incredible. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Absolutely got it.
No, that is actually a really good point. That is a really good point. I'm going to jump on that because what usually happens when you get back from 2-0 down and you're at home is that the fans are all up. And as a result, your momentum takes you to just making chance after chance. And sometimes, you win and sometimes you don't. But what happened with us was we just then gave Bournemouth chance after chance, made bad decisions, terrible passing, totally out of shape. No, as ever, desire from the midfield to kind of help their back line or the wide forwards. And Bournemouth should have again won it in those last few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I couldn't believe it, actually. I think it must have been 5 or 6 minutes. We didn't even touch the ball hardly at all. And any time that we did get possession of it, it was given straight back again. But, I was surprised when I came in at the start, I was talking about that disallowed goal. very fortunate to get away with that one. But the amount of space behind Spence, he did fantastically well to try and get back. But he was so far up the pitch that the space behind him was incredible. Look, people have already said it, that teams play, or you've said it, the teams play against Tottenham, we make it easy for them. The amount of space that there is in behind us because we play too high. I think actually, I've said this to you before, I've said it to Chris, the midfield is, I don't know how you're going to fix the midfield. I think in actual fact that they should go to a 4-4-2 and, try to strengthen it up and put a stronger player in back, a player in front of the back four, because the three midfielders today. You kept saying it, and as I say, I didn't see the first half, but you kept talking about the amount of mistakes that Bentancur was making and Basuma. I don't fancy Basuma. I've never fancied him. I think he's been a major disappointment in the last this season, especially. I think it started off, where he was suspended for some sort of a prank, and I think he actually rates himself higher than I actually rate him. So, bringing him back in again, I thought it was a strange midfield. I would have thought. I know you talked in the first half about, that Bournemouth were very physical in there, but I would have. Was Archie Gray on the bench today? I don't know.
He was. Yeah, he was.
I would have liked to see him come on. I think Bergwall made a big difference. He shows a lot of energy, and him and Sarr. But somehow, they're going to have to get a grip in midfield.
You have to say, don't you, that actually the amount of times that we've seen, Basuma and Bentancur not play particularly well, but also especially together, and the amount of times we've seen Basuma get hooked off at half time, he might as well try a Gray, Bergvall and Sarr midfield and just do what Pochettino had to do eventually and just bomb off all of the old players and say, I'll tell you what, we're just going to give this to the kids because the old players are shite.
Well, I would actually, because Spurs actually play their fullback so high, I would actually have somebody protecting the back four. I was talking
that
earlier.
Could be Archie Gray, arguably, I guess.
I think you're probably right. I think that's the guy that could do it because he's fast, he's quick, he's got a good football brain, and somehow that ball over the top, we, as you just said, we make all teams, like Bournemouth are a very professionally run club. I mean, an example of how a club is run with gates up or something of 11,000. But the quality that their players showed today. But I mean, why was that? Because they were given the space and which to do it. We were lucky. But looking forward to Thursday night, I don't share your pessimism. Actually, I think sometimes you get a wee bit of a rub of the green, which we got today. And many times have we sat and said, that we didn't get any luck. Nothing has gone for us. It certainly went in space for us today. I was actually hoping that they could press on and win it in the last few minutes. But being a Spurs fan, I was as nervous as a kitten for the last 5 minutes. And, the 6 minutes of injury time, I was relieved to get a draw. And again, you're right. It was a shambolic performance. But we'll take it. Moves us up to 34 points. But I think more importantly, that, if we had lost the game going into Thursday night, would have been very despondent. We can use it as a platform. And my God, if we can't beat a Dutch team that are, I don't know, you said 13th in their league or something like that?
No, they're I think they're third or fourth, but they're 13 points behind Ajax.
Yeah, like we made them look fantastic the other night. But I think at home, I think he needs to play a different midfield. I would not have any sort. Well, I know Bentancur suspended, so that might be a good thing. But I wouldn't go in with that three-man midfield. And I don't think Basuma will play. I think possibly Sarr might have played himself into it because he did show a lot of energy, and he's a bit clumsy at times, and he sometimes looks a wee bit headless. If he could really have made a big name for himself with that chance that he had earlier on, because that was a great chance. So all in all, glad of the point. It could have been it was embarrassing. Could have been more embarrassing, but I still think that we will beat Alkmaar on Thursday night. But where we go from here, I think Chelsea's the next game. Wouldn't hold out a lot of hope. I wouldn't hold out a lot of hope for that one. But we're still there on Thursday night. Let's go out and win it. Right. And maybe Ange needs to start having a good hard look at his formation and tactics. I think that it needs to be more solidity in front of the back four because they're making it easy for teams. But,
Agreed. Noel, mate, thank you so much for being part of the show. We want to see you take it. We want to see you take at least 2 fingers of that Guinness, mate.
I'm going back to my Guinness, Barnaby.
Top man.
Top. Right. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Speak to you after on Thursday, Noel. Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Barnaby.
Lovely to talk to a man in the pub. I wish I was in the pub, but instead, I believe I'm going to Essex. And John, is that right? You're in Essex, John?
Yeah, that's right, mate.
Top man. Thanks for being on the show again. How are you feeling, mate? What did you make of that absolute shite fest?
Yeah, I'm very despondent. I've been a big Anjin fan the whole time, and then after last Thursday and today, he's really testing my patience now. It wouldn't bother me if he was gone tomorrow. I'm still not saying get him out now, but if they did, it really wouldn't bother me at all. I blame half on him, half on the players. We should have been 2-0 down after 4 minutes. Yeah. I don't think that's the manager's fault. The first 4 minutes. So the players have got to take some blame as well. I was going to the game. I was going to buy 4 tickets for Thursday. And after that performance on Thursday, I've refused to. I'm not giving them my money.
John, I think that's a really interesting point because I've said it before. I'll say it again. Apathy is the biggest problem that Daniel Levy will have in this situation. And if it gets to the point where people are deciding, like you, to literally not go to games, and we get to a point where, and this was happening towards the back end of the Wenger management of Arsenal, where they would have big games there and there'd be swaths of empty seats at the Emirates. If that starts happening at Spurs, there'll be problems. And look, I get that we're in a painful rebuild, etc., but when you start like me today, when I'm not celebrating goals because I'm kind of embarrassed at how bad the team are, that is the apathy that will lead to people not paying for their season tickets and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, when I watch the games at home, my next door neighbour knows when we've scored a goal normally because I'm shouting, jumping up in the air. Now, like you say, I'm just sitting there. My missus can be in the kitchen. She don't even know if we've scored. I don't make a sound. It's just, the football's killing me. It really is. When he first came in, I loved his idea of all this attacking football. And I remember after a few games, a couple of interviews with Madison and someone else, and they said he won't let us pass the ball back.
Yeah.
He won't let us pass the ball back. That's all we do nowadays.
Yeah.
We get the ball, keep passing it back non-stop.
But to me, it's actually, sorry to interrupt, but to me, it's like we pass it back when we should be going forward, and then when we should be passing it back, we're trying to play some fucking ridiculous ball Romero in the first minute, left-footed across his own box straight onto the chest of Evan Nilsson. It's just it's decision making, which I think for me is bred by just probably a lack of. It's not understand. It's not that they don't understand the system or what they're being asked to do. It's that they're just kind of out of form from it all, and a lot of them coming back from injuries as well. They just make bad decisions over and over again.
Yeah, I just think the players ain't as good as what we think they are. When you have players come at your own club, every fan loves their own players, and we think they're better than what they are. And I've just come to the conclusion that half of them are really not good enough. They're really not. I mean, and another thing I wanted to mention, I read somewhere Solanke scored the most headers last year in the league for Bournemouth.
Mm-hmm.
We don't cross. No. We don't cross the ball to him.
No.
To have any. Now, if that's a real stat, surely
we don't make him any chances. We don't make him any chances. We don't make the centre under Ange. The centre forward doesn't get chances made for him. He doesn't.
No, yeah, definitely.
I agree. I agree with you in that. I've always wanted it to work out for Ange, and I do, but it's the inevitability of it. I'm afraid. Because even if, I don't know, they magically find a way, I don't know, Altmar gets someone sent off or do something stupid and we find a way through that. You're telling me that Eintracht Frankfurt are going to absolutely rub their hands with glee at the opportunity to just sit 11 men behind the ball and hit us on the break, but with actual talent. They won a European trophy a couple of years ago. We got no chance. We've got no chance. And the thing that frustrates me as well is I do think, I don't disagree with what you say. I think some of the players are not good enough. And I would say, well, let me put it this way. They're definitely not good enough to play this kind of football. So I'm thinking particularly of, I was going to say the older players particularly. So I'm going to say Bissouma, Bentancur and Son as examples of the older players where I'm like, okay, they are definitely not good enough to play this type of football. But is there a possibility that if Bentancur and Bissouma were given a little bit more protection in terms of the style of play in midfield, or asked to do a little bit less and maybe sit in front of the back four and play as double pivots, that they could be good enough? Maybe. And I really think that's one of the callers came on and gave Porro stick earlier. Porro is not only not a natural fullback. He played as wing back at Sporting Lisbon, where you get protection from your wide centre half. But also, he's playing as a fullback in a team where he gets no protection from his wide forward. So you're asking him to be doubly as good a defender when he's not a defender. But maybe if he, in some system that another manager played, where like Iraola, where he gets help from, how much defensive work was Semenyo putting in? Semenyo is a great attacking player, but he was working his nuts off to defend. Now, maybe if Porro had someone outside him who'd actually work back and help him out because the system asked him to, we might think actually he's a brilliant player. But at the moment, he gets a load of stick because he's left so isolated.
Yeah, I think a lot of these players, Bissouma, Porro, if they went to another team with a different system, then they'd probably be, look really, really good, be really good players. Bissouma's had his moments in the last couple of years where he's been unplayable, but nowhere near often enough. And Porro, I do feel a bit sorry for him sometimes because he doesn't get any help whatsoever. But then if that was me, I wouldn't be shooting off up the other end of the pitch so often.
But he's told to. Yeah, he's told to. Anyway, mate, listen, thanks so much for being part of the show. Really appreciate it. Let's talk after Thursday night, where I hope I'm wrong and it's not going to be an...
Yeah, I think you will be. I think we're going to sneak through.
Okay, well, I like that positivity, John. Appreciate it, mate.
All right, cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. Okay, next up, I'm going to go to Steve, because I usually leave him till last, but I don't want to. Steve is in the Czech Republic. And Steve, what do you make of that one, mate?
Yeah, another shit show, as you said. Well put. Yeah, a lot of giving the ball away all over the pitch, especially in the final third. It was so disappointing. Even in the first half, decision-making was really poor. What can I say? Like you said, Vic saved us on more than one occasion there. Could have easily been like 2-0 in the first 4 minutes. We got away with the offside goal, or you can say the offside trap worked. But it was poor decision making with the passes. I got frustrated with, because when we actually did break, that the final ball was really bad. Overall.
I'm going to ask a question just because it's popped into my head, right?
Yeah.
I think one easy way of looking at this for me now, and I want to caveat again, like I said, I still would love it to work for Ange, and I wanted it to work for him. I really like him.
Yeah, me too.
If Iraola was in charge of Spurs today and Ange was in charge of Bournemouth, what do you think the score would have been?
I think it would have been about 4-1.
Yeah, I do as well. Because
you
look at those players, player by player, probably not, maybe 3 of them I would take, 3 or 4 max.
Would get into the Tottenham side,
And I think when it comes to that kind of situation, I've just been thinking about it. Another manager, I thought if Oliver Glasner from Palace was in charge of Spurs at the moment, we would not be losing, we didn't lose that game, but I would not be watching that game so apathetically as I did.
Yeah.
And when it gets to the point where, I'm a fan and I want it to work for Ange and I like him a lot, but I'm thinking, which other managers do I think would be doing a better job with this squad? Then that is the point where I think something probably has to change. And also, I think we all have to take a little bit of, I'll put my hand up here, take a little bit of, what's the right word? It's my fault a little bit because, we've all been like, okay, he sacks managers too quickly. Well, this time it's gone full the other way.
Yeah.
And he's determined not to sack the manager. So now I don't think Ange, even if we lose on Thursday, actually, I said it earlier, I thought he'd lose his job on Friday. He probably wouldn't.
No,
he probably wouldn't. He'd probably actually leave at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know what you think about that, Steve.
No, I totally agree with you. I don't think you'll go to the end of the season, and it is disappointing. Extremely disappointing the way it's panning out. Unfortunately, I also think I'm with you in the fact that I don't think we'll get through against Alkmaar. I just don't, which is which is a massive shame for me personally, because I'm actually going to the stadium for the first time. I'm flying over on Thursday.
Well, I'm hoping you can be our good luck charm, Steve.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, because it's no small fortune with hotels and traveling and stuff like that.
The only thing I can think, the only positive I can think in terms of why something could change on Thursday is that run from Van de Ven. You remember that run from Van de Ven when he was like, I'm just going to put on the afterburners and go down the left. Well, when we inevitably get to, the 60th minute and we're either losing or hopefully not losing, maybe one way to make some space for some of our other players is that Van de Ven can beat a man or two, draw some players out to him, cut it inside. Madison will hopefully be on the pitch, so a bit of creativity. But
yeah, it definitely got the crowd going as well, didn't it? Though, I mean, not only when he came on, he got a terrific ovation. Yeah. But that run, I think, it doesn't get them off their seats. I don't think we're that far down the road yet with this team. But there was a bit of a nice sort of purr or roar in the crowd when he started that run down the left-hand side. Yeah, you're right there.
Just getting some quotes in from the press conference afterwards. Postecoglou on Romero, Solanke, and Van de Ven said, "Yeah, that's the key thing. They got minutes. Romero, just great to get him back out there. He's such an important player for us, but you could see he hasn't played for a while. I thought he grew into the game and got a lot better as it went on. Great for Dom to get 90 minutes today. He's such a workhorse for us. And I'm sure he'll feel better for that. Brilliant to get Mickey out there as well. I think before Thursday night, that was key for us to get some minutes into these guys, and thankfully they got through it unscathed." Yeah. I mean, talk about a man putting his entire managerial future on one game and three injured players coming back.
Yeah, that's he's taking the risk. Well, it's a risk. It's calculated risk. I totally agree with Melvin that I'm totally surprised that he left Dom Solanke on so long, and he could have brought on Dave Scarlett and taken him off in like the 70th minute or something like that. So that was that. I thought Bergvall was immense again. He's such some people use the phrase silky player. He just does glide past people.
He's got bite about him as well and grit. Yeah. He shows what they all need to show. Like that, I'm gonna fucking put my body on the line.
Exactly. There was twice when he was tripped in a run. He was on his knees and then he managed to stand back up again and carry on with the ball. He did that twice. Yeah. And he was very unlucky with that shot. Finally, someone having a dig from the edge of the box. Yeah. I'm tired when it gets a little bit too intricate. Although, the one chance we made, which was clear cut, Sarr snatched at it. It was really a side foot, place it in one of the corners, and I don't know. And then, as luck would have it, as someone said, a very lucky cross. I used to be a winger. That I would claim it, but I'd have to hold my hand up and say that was a cross. Obviously, not trying to score against a Premier League goalkeeper from that distance. He was looking for Dom Solanke, but never mind. We needed a bit of luck. So, but
doesn't that show? That's a good example. One of the callers earlier talked about how or maybe you said it. I can't remember. But we talked about how we don't put crosses in. Oh, well, you try and put a cross in, and it flies into the far corner by chance. It's like the same as what you're saying about having long shots. Have some long shots, and one might deflect off someone's bum and go in the goal. But we don't do any of that. We just slow it down again, backwards, sideways.
It's horrendous. I was very disappointed, although he had a good game in the first half. If you remember Odobert, when he got to the byline, finally cut inside, and he had two people coming in on the edge of the box, and he just sort of lofted it over Solanke, and it was to nobody. And that was the end of one of our very few attacks in the first half. Johnson was terrible again. I don't care what anyone says. He was abysmal. But he got hooked anyway, so obviously somebody agrees. But not hopeful for Thursday, but as I say, I'm going over, so I'll lend my voice and money for a seat and try and enjoy it.
I guess realistically, then I'll be speaking to you after the next league game, but hopefully you can be the lucky man who turns our fortunes around and we can get through to the Europa League last day.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for being a part of the show, mate. Really appreciate it. Top man.
Thanks for not leaving me to the end.
No problem. Bye-bye. Okay, next up, I'm going over to India and Sanjay. Sanjay, thank you for waiting, mate. Let me know what you thought of that Tottenham performance today. Oh, you're on mute, Sanjay. I'm going to need you to unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry.
There we are.
I think it's frustrating, but I have actually a balanced, reaction from the first half and the second half. Especially when Berrywal came in, Son came in. The only thing that I saw is that the passion in Berrywal. Apart from that, the other players, They were just playing the game, but there were so many missed chances, so many missed passes. They are just giving the ball to Bournemouth to play, and that is something which was very frustrating.
Yeah.
Also, I agree with you. Sar's goal of that long shot also didn't give me an excitement as much. It made me feel as if he was making that cross, but it's very hard to say if he was actually going for the goal or making that cross.
Well, he wasn't. Sanj, I'm just going to interrupt you quickly because Postecoglou, I've got some quotes from Postecoglou on Lucas Bergvall. He said, Lucas was great. He's been great, but he's played a lot, and we've just got to be mindful of that. He's becoming an important part of our team. I thought he made a really big impact when he came on. Like I said, we were sloppy when we were on the ball in the first half, and he's one who takes a bit more care with it. He's a technician, and he carries the ball really well. I thought he and Sonny made a really good impact when they came on. So that's good that Ange talking positively about Bergvall.
Yes, so I think Ange is right about that, because the only thing that we all saw was Berrywall's performance. That was the major highlight of the entire match. Apart from that, in the first half, in the 13th minute, when, Brennan Johnson was making that cross, no one was there inside the box. No one was there. And it's just so frustrating because, and also, Ange's tactics are so predictable right now, because every time we are seeing that you are going into the corners and then making a cut-in shift, even I can see that happening. So any players who are there in the defensive side will already make those markings against those players, Son or, Udogi, anyone who is there, and they will just block it off. And I think Pedro Porro was very bad today. It was frustrating. The pass to Johnson that he was trying to make in the first half was clearly out of proportion. But I don't know how it will go on Thursday. Just optimistic. But if I had to give my own opinion about Ange right now, it will be like, see, his tactics are solid, not too much, but I think it's just a one-way tactic. He has to have some other backup plans. Maybe, explore them more in the central area in the final third instead of just going into the right or the left corners of the pitch, and, experiment as much as they can.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think one of the other problems that we've got with Ange, or with Tottenham as a whole at the moment, is, like I said, I'm pretty forthright in that I think it's going to be a difficult and probably an ugly night on Thursday night. So after that, then the season, will probably come to a pretty crashing halt. And then what kind of players are going to want to come to Tottenham if we finish in 14th place next season? I mean, yes, we've got money because it's the Premier League, but, I just don't foresee us being able to get those players that we're going to need to really push our first team on, especially in midfield.
It will be hard to get, established players in the club right now, given the chance, given the position that we are in. Because first of all, my understanding is that, we will only get 18 years or 19-year-old players paying, 20 million, 50 million euros for them. And then we have to wait for another 3-4 years to get them habituated with the tactics and then prepare a proper team. But this can not go on forever. So I think even if, Levy today, after the Thursday's game, if we don't win and he plans to sack Ange, the only CV that he'll get is from Pochettino. That I can assure you. The only thing that only CV he'll get.
But Pochettino won't leave America when they're about to have the World Cup. That's not going to happen. So it won't be him.
Yeah, that's the thing. But who knows? He's so passionate about Tottenham and he's so emotional about it. He might change his mind.
Listen, Sanjay, I would die for that to happen. I would love that. I would be so, so happy. But it's not going to happen. And I've had to resign myself to that. And in fact, I've thought about this a little bit, and you brought it up, so I'll tell you. I wonder whether whatever happens, Levy might be trying to stay with Ange until the end of that World Cup to appoint Pochettino after that World Cup. That's what I think he might be thinking.
That is one of the things I actually agree with you. I don't think Levy will take another chance of sacking Ange mid of season right now. It will be again till the end of this season, and then he'll think of what to do. But but also, see, I cannot fully blame Ange on this one, right? Because it is also the players who need to be coordinated, irrespective of how many rotations happen, because you're practicing in and out every week. So there has to be some coordinations, there has to be some understanding within the players that if there is a gap when they're making the passes, or they have to be decisive when they're in the final third. That is not happening in any of the matches that I'm seeing. The only thing that I can remember being the best moment of Spurs is against Manchester United, when Van de Ven just intercepted the ball and went and gave Johnson the assist for the goal. But apart from that, they have to be very intuitive, because his tactics require intuitiveness and presence of mind on the field. That is not there.
That's
And
true.
I hope that in the game on Thursday, he gives Maddison, Sarr, and Berrywal as the trios for the midfield, because then it is then we can crack the midfield.
Yeah.
Bissouma and Bentancur, they are not being able to perform.
Yeah, I guess one of the problems with that, though, will Sarr be able to play in that 6 role and take the ball on the half turn from his defenders? But anyway, Sanjay, listen, I've got to rush off now, but really appreciate you calling. Thanks for being part of the show. Let's speak again after Thursday night.
Absolutely.
Cheers, mate.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
I just put up a comment there from Epec20. Says Levy's making an example of Ange, and then he went on to say teaching the fans a lesson, which, do you know what? I don't fully disagree with. I think, like I've been saying, a little bit of... you've been saying I sack managers too early. Well, I'm going to go the opposite way. Anyway, my last guest today, going all the way to, where are you, Colin? I don't even know where you are, but
in Oakville, Ontario, just outside.
There
of
we go,
Toronto.
in Ontario, in Canada. And
Yes,
Paul, good. Thanks for being patient and coming on the show.
My pleasure.
What did you make of it from all the way over in Canada?
Well, thank you, Kepa, for the point.
Yeah.
Because if it's not for Kepa, we have absolutely nothing. They probably win 4-0.
Yeah.
Thursday we could win, but if
How?
we win, individual effort. Like, how do we see goals being created in the system in which we're playing? It's usually because somebody does something well. It's not. We don't seem to be generating a lot of chances. So how can you, if you're looking for Dominic Solanke, if you're a Dominic Solanke fan, you're standing 6 inches from the TV to try to find him because nobody else is finding him. So if we win, and you know what? I think we will. I think we're going to win 2-1. I know you don't believe it, but I really think.
Do you mean 2-0 on the night?
Yeah, that we're going to win an aggregate 2 exactly. I think.
You think we're going to keep a clean sheet?
They don't score a lot of goals. If they score first,
we're fucked.
Well, of course, but they scored first last time, and how is it that a team? I would love to. I'm not that deep into payrolls, but what's the payroll of that team versus the payroll of our team? And why were they able to you talk about game control a lot in your show, second half, controlling tempo, fighting for every ball, being first every ball. And that's what they did. So, but I somehow think that because the season's been so bizarre that we win Thursday. I'd bet on it. Well, I wouldn't bet on it.
Colin, I really, really hope you're right. But I think the problem is like, I just feel like everything's against us now. Like I've just read a thing. I don't know whether it's true in the comments that apparently Ange had a bit of a pop at the atmosphere in the stadium today. I can't foresee the atmosphere in the stadium rocking in the way it needs to on Thursday night. There'll be an expectation that the players need to do something to make that atmosphere happen. And I think the players are a bit fearful at the moment. They're not at it.
Who is the owner of the Oakland Raiders who said, "Just win, baby"? You know what I mean? Just win a game.
Unless it's Billy Bean, I don't know.
I can't remember his name, but stop talking about the pitch. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
The atmosphere in the stands. I mean, I notice, if you've ever coached anything and you watch Ange on the sideline, coaches have that time when you don't know what to say anymore. Like the worst feeling in the world, right? How come there's never any dialogue between him and his assistants? Look at Bournemouth today. He's turning back. He's talking to people. I'm not saying that's not a criticism. That's just an observation. He just stands out there and it seems to be the coaching's over once the whistle's blown. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but that's just what I notice.
No, that's definitely been something that other fans have picked up on and got frustrated about. And if you look at Areola today, and I think I'm getting his name wrong there, but apologies. But he is kind of almost, he's not Mikel Arteta, where he's really super annoying and really a prick. But he definitely is more akin to how Pochettino used to be on the bench, which is like, kind of a lot of kind of cajoling, I think is the word I used during the watch along. And I think a lot of fans want to see that. But your point about him never talking to his coaching staff is a good point. Yeah, there's kind of none of that, is there?
And why do players underperform? I mean, when you look at the guys we brought in, and we were excited to get them. We were excited to get Basuma. We went and got him. We were excited to get Madison. Why do players underperform in this? Why are they underperforming? Why aren't they playing well? Look at what Bournemouth got out of it. Look at Kirkes today. Look at what Bournemouth gets out of those guys.
A big part of that is because we're 13th in the league, and so it's a vicious circle. We're 13th in the league because we're playing poorly, but you can't then magically get confidence and form when you're 13th in the league. And every time you get the ball, you're in the back of your head, Ange is saying, no, you've got to be brave and you've got to play on the half turn and whatever. But in the head, you're like, but 60,000 people are going to boo me. And that was happening to Bentancur and Basuma today. And it's like, it's the vicious circle. Basuma's not a bad player. Basuma's a good player, but he is not got the mentality for this moment. That's for sure. He's not the player you want in a scrap. And we are in a scrap.
The direction. That's what I think. I really don't think that, other than a broad stroke idea of this is what we do. Look how well Bournemouth trapped today. Like you could see guys coming. They were waiting for that wide ball from our keeper. And we don't, I was trying to remember the game that we actually played that way, and we generated 3 or 4 scoring chances in the first 5 minutes at home. We scored 2 goals, and it was insanely good. But that whole idea of Ange ball, to me, I don't see that existing anymore. I don't see a consistently aggressive side who's pressing.
And I don't think opposition teams let us do it.
Oh no, and they're licking their lips. Good coaches are licking their lips against this because it's, like you said, it's too predictable.
But anyway, Colin, you think we might be able to nick it on Thursday? I hope you're right. And I I'll tell you what, if we win on Thursday night, make sure you call in afterwards, and I will happily allow you to say, do you remember, Barnaby? Do you remember? And I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Mate. But listen, thanks for being a part of the show, and enjoy the start of your week. Cheers, mate.
It's a pleasure. Okay. Take care.
Bye-bye. Okay, guys, once again, if you'd like to appear on the Fan Show on a future episode, do email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. It's really important to us that this channel gives everyone a voice, especially from those all around the world. So wherever you're from, please do get in touch.